The Chicago Bulls are one of the most popular NBA teams in any country in the world, and Brazil is no exception. His jersey is one of the most iconic in the history of world sports, largely due to its biggest star, Michael Jordan. The Bulls dominated the NBA in the 1990s and, despite the lack of victories after the retirement of Jordan, one of the best and most iconic basketball players in history, they continue to have a large legion of fans. Despite the Bulls' success, the team was not the city of Chicago's first basketball franchise. That position belongs to the Chicago Stags, the team that was active between 1946 and 1950 and even played in the first season of the NBA. The second team in the history of this city was the Chicago Packers, who later changed their name to the Chicago Zephyrs. They played in Chicago between 1961 and 1963, then moved to Baltimore and then Washington, and are still active today under the name of the Washington Wizards. This means that the Bulls were Chicago's third attempt at an NBA franchise, as the team was created following an NBA expansion in 1966. The team was founded by Dick Klein and did not have much success until 1984, when his selection in the draft changed world basketball. Michael Jordan. The evolution of the Bulls in basketball history. The arrival of Michael Jordan to the NBA in 1984 gave new hope to the Bulls, who until then had never won a title. The team now had a new owner, Jerry Reinsdorf, and, above all, a new manager, Jerry Krause. An entire team was built around Jordan, who took almost 10 years to win his first title. At that time, betting on basketball and choosing the Bulls was a rare decision. However, the wait was worth it, since the Bulls currently hold 6 NBA titles, and acquired the status of having been the only team that managed to reach several finals undefeated, the 100% record in 6 finals played. The results of the Bulls in the NBA. The history of the Chicago Bulls really began to change when, in addition to having Michael Jordan as a player, the team hired Phil Jackson as a coach. Jackson had been a player and his arrival to the Bulls was met with great curiosity as it was his first coaching experience in the league. Today he remains the coach with the most titles in his career, 11 in total, including 6 with the Bulls. The Bulls won 2 triplets. They were champions between 1991 and 1993 and, after the brief retirement of Michael Jordan, between 1996 and 1998. The 5 most notable players of the Chicago Bulls as mentioned above. When thinking about the Chicago Bulls and the list of their best players in history, it is impossible not to mention Michael Jordan first, but the reality is that there are other great players who also wore the team's jersey. To be more objective, we will mention those that we consider the 5 most outstanding. Michael Jordan. Michael Jordan is the Pelé of basketball. Or is Pelé the Michael Jordan of soccer? It doesn't matter who came before whom, just remember that he is the best player in this sport of all time, and that he revolutionized the league, making it more popular than ever. From selling sneakers to the iconic game with Bugs Bunny in which he saved the earth, Jordan is the owner of 6 titles for the Chicago Bulls, proclaiming himself MVP of the 6 finals he played with the team. Scottie Pippen. If every Batman needs his Robin, Michael Jordan had Scottie Pippen as his faithful squire in all his glory years with the Bulls, in which Pippen also won 6 league titles with Chicago. However, it is unfair to reduce him to just Jordan's assistant. Pippen was named one of the 50 greatest players in NBA history, was part of the Dream Team in the 1992 Olympic Games and is also part of the Basketball Hall of Fame, in addition to being one of only 4 players on the team whose shirt was retired. Dennis Rodman. Dennis Rodman was one of the main protagonists of the Bulls' second trilogy of titles, which is surprising, given that he had a notable career with the Detroit Pistons, the Bulls' biggest rivals in the NBA. The player was famous for his great rebounding talent, and even his rebellious attitudes were overlooked because of how much he helped the team in their title campaigns. Steve Kerr. Okay, he may not be the greatest player of all time, but any list of basketball players should mention the name of Steve Kerr, the coach responsible for the Golden State Warriors dynasty. In addition to his 5 titles as a player, 3 of them with the Chicago Bulls, Kerr has 4 coaching titles, making him one of the biggest names in the league today. Tony Kukoc. Croatian. Tony Kukoc is still considered one of the best foreign players in NBA history. He won 3 titles with the Bulls, in 1996, 1997 and 1998. He was twice voted the NBA's best sixth man and is currently still linked to the franchise, as he is a personal advisor to Jerry Reinsdorf, the team's billionaire owner. Derrick Rose. After the great generation of the Chicago Bulls began to dissolve following the end of the 1997-98 season, there were few moments when fans truly had any hope that Chicago would return to glorious times. Chosen by the Bulls in the 2008 draft, he was proclaimed Rookie of the Year in 2009 and was the youngest player to be chosen MVP in 2011. He even led the Bulls to a conference final, but a knee injury frustrated the franchise's plans, as the player was never able to perform at the same level again and left the public with an eternal question: what would have been the future of Rose if it hadn't been for the injury? The unforgettable story of the Chicago Bulls. The best moments in the history of the Chicago Bulls undoubtedly came during the Jordan era, when the team won no less than 6 titles in an 8-year period. The first trilogy took place between 1991 and 1993. Then they defeated Magic Johnson's Los Angeles Lakers, Clyde Drexler's Portland Trail Blazers and Charles Barkley's Phoenix Suns in the finals. The second trilogy took place between 1996 and 1998, after Michael Jordan's return to the league. That time they beat the Seattle Supersonics, and twice they beat Karl Malone's Utah Jazz. The Chicago Bulls today. Unfortunately, the Bulls are currently in an eternal rebuilding phase and are nothing more than a mid-level team in the NBA. In the 2022-2023 season, the team finished 10th in the Eastern Conference, with 40 wins and 42 losses, qualifying for the play-in round. They managed to beat the Toronto Raptors in the first game, but were defeated by the Miami Heat and they had to say goodbye to the season.